Hello dear children, in this video we are going to discuss what actually machine is, what are its functions and the terms related to the machine. There we are going to discuss about what is the effort, what is the load, how they are related to the mechanical advantage. Then we are going to discuss the efficiency of the machine and even we will discuss the differences between ideal machine and actual machine. So before getting to the topic, before going to learn the terms related to the what we can say machine, dear children, first let us think about what actually machine is. Dear children, so whenever we think about a machine, a complicated structure will come into our mind actually. Children, machine means it's need not be such a huge size. It's like it need not be complicated design. It is not that. Any device which makes our work easy and comfortable is called machine. For example, small screwdriver is a machine only, so which helps us to tighten the nut to loosen the nut. So machine may not be a complicated complicated structure or a huge structure. So a device which makes our work easy and comfortable is called actually machine. Fine. Now what are the functions of the machine? So dear children, let us discuss in detail the functions of the machine. So in that first one, dear children, so I have this look diagram. This first diagram, look at here. So this is hydraulic machine it is. So what is its purpose? Let us see, dear children. So here let us say it is a car, for example, and here is we are applying the force of 25 newtons actually. Okay, we are giving, let us say, 25 newtons force to that machine. But what will be the output? Are we going to get the force more than 25 newtons, less than 25 newtons, or equal to 25 newtons? First of all, what is its purpose? What is its function? So what is the main function of hydraulic machine? Let us see. If you want to see that, we need to calculate the output force actually. How much output force which we are getting? So for that, we have this formula. What is that here? F2 is equal to A2 by A1 into F1. Here all values are given. Just for example, just we have taken this. It is 1000 by 10 into 25. 0, 0 cancel. So it is F2 is equal to 2500 Newton. So teacher, now try to think this. So here F2 is very much greater than that of the F1. So how much force are we applying? Just we are applying 25 newtons only. So whatever the 25 newton force which is applied, dear children, it is multiplied 100 times. It is multiplied 100 times. So whatever the output force which is coming, which we are getting, it is utilized to lift the heavy vehicles. So what this machine is doing in this case, it is multiplying the force. So we can say that one of the best functions, one of the important functions of the machine is that it acts like a force multiplier. So in this case, it acts like a force multiplier. Let us write. So in this case, it is acting like a force multiplier. That is force multiplier, which means what? Whatever the force which we are giving, it is multiplied many times so that it is utilized to overcome heavy resistive forces. Heavy loads are lifted very easily. Fine. Now come to this one. So it's very clear that it is scissors. Children, in scissors also we have variety types of scissors. But this is a scissor which is used to cut the cloth. So what is special of this scissor? These blades are longer than effort. Look at here, handle. So handle is shorter and here blades are longer. And here what is the load here? Whatever the cloth which we are trying to cut is a load. And we are here is a point where we are applying the effort. But dear children, compare with the effort, load is very light, very less, which means what? Here this what we can say device or this machine is not utilized as a force multiplier. Force multiplier means what actually? Here load should be heavy actually. But here load is very light. So this scissor is not used as a force multiplier. Then what is its purpose? Actually, it's very important. So try to understand here. When you are applying the effort at this point, what will happen? Here blades will move longer than effort. Very important. Blades will move longer than effort. Let us say here dB is a displacement of the blades, means which can move on the cloth displacement. Let us say here dE is a displacement of handle, that is effort here, if you can see. And it is very clear that here displacement of blades is always greater than that of the displacement of effort, which means for teacher, blades will move longer. Blades will move longer. It's very, very important. Means in a given time. So in a given time, dear children, let us say given time, it will be more. Children, displacement is nothing but what, dear children? Velocity. Velocity. So here output velocity is greater than that of the input effort velocity. This is blades, let us say. Blades velocity means here blades will move longer, which means what? Blades are covering more displacement than that of the effort displacement in a given time, which means what? Here blades are moving faster. So the speed of the blades is very, very high when we compare with the effort speed here, handle speed. So here in this case the scissors are acting like a speed multiplier. We are gaining the speed. Children, in the first case we are gaining the force, whereas in a second case we are gaining the speed. So in this case this particular machine acts like a speed multiplier. Speed multiplier. Speed multiplier. Now look at this, dear children. So it is a single fixed pulley. Actually, dear children, whenever we want to take water from a well, then what we have to do? With the help of bucket, rope will be there, we have to pull the bucket like this. But do you think that it is comfortable to us to take the water against the gravity? No, it is not comfortable. For that only we are using single fixed pulley here. But children, try to understand in which direction are we applying the effort? No doubt about it, downward direction we are applying the effort. But in which direction the load is moving? Load is moving vertically upwards. Means here what is happening, dear children? What actually this single fixed pulley is doing? It is changing the direction of effort applied. We are applying the effort downward direction, but it is changed to this point vertical upward, and here it is pulling the bucket upward direction. So in this case, what this particular so-called single fixed pulley, like a simple machine, is doing, it is doing what it is like, changing the direction of effort applied. So what is the third function which we can say that here in this case, this particular machine is used to change the direction of effort applied. So dear children, now look at here. Here it is used as a force multiplier, used as a speed multiplier. Here it is used to change the direction of effort applied. Now dear children, let us recall once again. So what will happen when we are doing the cycling? So how can we make the cycle to move forward? Of course, no doubt about it, by applying some effort, some force. Where do we apply? On pedal. So look at that system will be like this. Children, look at this arrangement setup. It is what actually we have in a cycle. That is a gear system. Here, dear children, what we will do actually in order to make the cycle to move forward, we apply the force on the pedals. But dear children, try to understand here, but our intention is to make the rear wheel to move, actually back wheel to move, rotate. So when back wheel will rotate, what will happen? Obviously it pushes the front wheel so that entire cycle will move. Actually, that is the concept actually. But dear children, in order to make the like a back wheel to rotate, we have to apply the effort actually back only in general. But is it comfortable applying the force? Just imagine we are sitting on a seat, but just we are applying the force on a back wheel. So it is not possible. For that, what we will do, dear children, here we will be applying the effort on this pedal. But here, whatever the effort which is applied here, that is transferred to the rear wheel with this chain. With this chain, what will happen? That whatever the force which you are giving is transferred to the back wheel, and then what happens? Back wheel is being rotated so that it pushes the front wheel, then entire cycle moves actually. So in this case, what is happening, dear children? Whatever the point where we are applying the effort is shifted to the convenient point. So these are the 4 functions of the machine. Children, it's very, very important to understand. It is not like a simply by hearting. See, in order to by heart, it takes 1 minute of time. We can by heart very easily, but we have to understand in which case how that particular machine is used. It's very, very important. And one more very important thing is, children, here in this case machine is used as a force multiplier. In this case, this machine is used as a speed multiplier. But dear children, at the same time, no machine can be used as a force multiplier and as well as speed multiplier. It is highly impossible. Either it must be used as a force multiplier or it must be used as a speed multiplier. So these are the functions of the machine. So let us recall once again. What we can say, machine acts like a force multiplier and it acts like a speed multiplier. Children, try to understand. In this case, blades will move longer than that of the effort here. That's what means in a given time, as they are moving longer, their displacement is more. As their displacement will be more means what actually their speed will be more. So here we are gaining the speed. In this case, we are gaining the force. But whereas in this case, dear children, so we are not gaining even force and not gaining speed also. Means it is in this case especially neither force is gained nor speed is gained. But what is the purpose of this machine here? Only to change the direction of effort applied. And whereas in this case, dear children, machine is used to shift, to transfer the point of application of effort to the convenient point. So these are the function. Now let us see the terms related to the machine. First, the important term is actually effort. So first we'll learn what actually effort is, and then we'll discuss what actually load also. Then after that we'll discuss how both are related. Children, one very important, in order to understand this, let us take once again our hydraulic machine. Let us take our hydraulic machine. So if you are okay with this, dear children, it's very easy to understand. So this is, let us say, point where we will be applying the force, and here is a what we can say, the heavy weight will be there, which is lifted actually with the help of this machine actually. So what actually effort is, dear children? So here, in order to lift this heavy load, dear children, we have to apply some force. So this force, the force applied on the machine to overcome this load is called effort. Very, very important, children. So effort is nothing but the force only. Effort is what, children? Effort is nothing but the force only which we are applying on the machine to overcome this resistive force. This resistive force is called actually effort. So what are the units of effort, dear children? So it is measured in Newton only. Next, the important term is load. What is load? Children, effort can be represented with a capital E, load can be represented with a capital L. Then what is a load, dear children? So here this heavy weight which we place, it might be a car, it might be any other object which is very heavy. Children, when you try to lift it, what will happen? Do you think that it will accept that change? No, it will try to come downward direction just because of gravitational force. Means it will try to resist its change. So that only we can say it's a resistive force. It means it will try to being pulled. It is being pulled by the gravity. When you try to lift it, what will happen? It will try to come down. Means it opposes the change. So this one only, this whatever the heavy weight which is overcome by the machine is called actually load. Further, dear children, in order to lift that particular weight, dear children, don't you think that a machine should apply some force? Definitely. So machine should apply some force in order to overcome the resistive force is called actually load. I repeat once again. What is a load? What is load? What is effort? The force applied by us. We are applying the force on the machine to overcome this resistive force is called actually effort. Then what is the load here? The resistive force which is overcome by the machine. For example, here it was there. For example, car was there. For example, car is there. Yes, that car is a load. Cotton bale is there. Yes, that cotton bale is load. So other than that, any object which is lifted, which is overcome by the machine is called actually load only. So load also is nothing but what it is a resistive force. Means what? It also measured in Newton only. Next, the third term is a very, very important, mechanical advantage. Children, here symbols are accepted. So instead of writing mechanical advantage, you can use capital M, capital A. What is a mechanical advantage? How can it be defined? Children, mechanical advantage is defined as the ratio of load and effort. Children, try to understand. So what is a mechanical advantage? The ratio between load and effort is called actually mechanical advantage. Children, what are the units here? See, try to understand here. Load is measured in Newton only. Effort also measured in Newton only. So both will get cancelled. So which means what here? Mechanical advantage has no units. Children, here under this mechanical advantage, based on the value of the mechanical advantage also, we can decide whether that particular machine acts like a force multiplier or speed multiplier, or it is used to change the direction of effort applied. So under this mechanical advantage, we have three important cases. First one, teacher, let us see. If load is greater than effort, that is what? Numerator is greater than denominator, then obviously, dear children, mechanical advantage will be greater than 1. Children, a machine with a mechanical advantage greater than 1 acts like a force multiplier. It acts like a force multiplier. Whereas dear children, if load is less than that of the effort, which means what? Numerator is less than that of the effort or denominator, then what happens? Mechanical advantage will be less than 1. Machine with mechanical advantage less than 1, dear children, it acts like a speed multiplier. Whereas if load is equal to effort, that is what? Numerator is equal to denominator, then what happens, dear children, here? Mechanical advantage is equal to 1. So machine with mechanical advantage 1, it neither acts like a force multiplier nor act like a what we can say speed multiplier. Then what is its purpose? What is its use? Then why we need to use that particular machine with a mechanical advantage 1? So it's very, very important. Machine with a mechanical advantage 1 is used to change the direction of effort applied. The best example is single fixed pulley. So single fixed pulley is neither force multiplier nor speed multiplier. It is used to change the direction of effort applied. So dear children, this is effort, load, mechanical advantage. What is effort, dear children? The force which we apply on the machine to overcome the resistive force is called effort. It is measured in Newton. What is the load here? The large resistive force which is overcome by the machine, is called actually load. Mechanical advantage is ratio of load and effort. It has no units, and here we have 3 cases. So based on the value of the mechanical advantage, we can decide the function of the machine. Now let us see velocity ratio, how it is defined. So velocity ratio. So in order to understand this velocity ratio, again let us come back to our force multiplier, that is our hydraulic machine only. So children, this is a point where we are applying the force, that is fine. So the force which we are applying only, we can call it as effort actually. It is nothing but effort, it is nothing but actually load. The moment when you apply the force on this piston, don't you think that it will move downward direction? Obviously. Then what happens? Simultaneously, this load also will move upwards. So here there will be the point of effort, wherever we are applying the force, that point is displaced downward direction, and here this point will be displaced upward direction, which means what? This effort is moving downward direction, load is moving vertically upward direction. Means in a given time, it is covering some displacement downward direction, it is also covering some displacement but upward direction. So the displacement covered in a given time only we can call it as a velocity. You can call it as a velocity, which means what here? So there will be some velocity of this effort, that only we can denote with the effort velocity. The velocity with which that point of application effort is moving downward direction, we can take it as a effort velocity. Whereas the point of what we can say, this is a point of this load, let us say this is a load. So in result what will happen? This load also moving vertically upwards, means it also has some displacement in a given time, which means what? Load also has some velocity that will represent with the VL. So try to understand here. V is the effort velocity, VL is the load velocity. Means effort is covering some displacement, that is a DE vertically downwards, whereas load is covering some displacement vertical upwards, that we can call it as DL. Try to understand each other. DE is a effort, displacement effort downward direction. DL is a what we can say displacement of the load actually. Then how to define velocity ratio? So velocity ratio is defined in terms of displacements, even it can be defined in terms of velocities also. So here velocity ratio is defined as the ratio between effort displacement to the load displacement. Effort displacement to the load displacement. Even it can be children. So can we write like this? effort displacement by time, load displacement by time, of course we can. So this and this both are equal only, but displacement by time is called what, children? Velocity. So it is a effort displacement by time, so effort velocity. Load displacement by time, it is called as load velocity. So velocity ratio is also defined as effort velocity to the load velocity. Very, very important. Either you can define like this or like this, both are accepted. So velocity ratio is defined as the ratio of effort displacement to the load displacement, or it is defined as effort velocity to the load velocity. Then what are the units, dear children? So here it is a ratio between same two physical quantities. So both units will get cancelled. Or if you can consider this also, dear children, it is also effort velocity. So it is also ratio between same two physical quantities, which means what? Here if it is meter per second by meter per second, so both gets cancelled. So here as like a mechanical advantage, velocity ratio also has no units. It also has no units. And here also, dear children, we have three cases. Case 1, if effort displacement, or you can take a effort velocity is greater or effort displacement is greater. If effort displacement is greater than that of the load displacement, then what happens here? Velocity ratio will be greater than 1. Here in second case, if effort displacement is less than the load displacement, then what happens here? Velocity ratio will be less than 1. If, dear children, effort displacement is equal to load displacement, then its velocity ratio is equal to 1. But we have to think, if a particular machine whose velocity ratio is greater than 1, it acts like a force multiplier. Whereas the machine with a velocity ratio less than 1, then it acts like a speed multiplier. Whatever this velocity ratio is equal to 1, it acts neither force multiplier nor speed multiplier. Then what is its purpose? It is used to change the direction of effort applied. Regarding this velocity ratio is equal to 1, we will be discussing when we will get the concept called single fixed pulley and a single movable pulley. So this is all about velocity ratio. Now we will discuss what is a work input, what is a work output. After that we can calculate what is the efficiency, how is it related to the velocity ratio and mechanical advantage. Children, have the same diagram. With the help of same diagram only, we can discuss what is a work output, what is a work input. First, let us discuss work input. Or input energy. Work input or input energy, both are same only. Because we know that work and energy both are equivalent. So how to define work input? How to calculate work input? Dear children, for example, let us take, this is a point. This is a point of application of force. Some force we are applying, so that there will be some displacement. So already we discussed in a work power energy chapter, if the force is acting on the body and the body is displaced in the direction of applied force, then some work is said to be done. Here, whatever the effort which we are applying is doing some work on the machine, that only we can call it as a input work. So how can we calculate input work, dear children? So input work can be calculated like this: effort into effort displacement. That's it. Effort into effort displacement. Effort is nothing but force only, right? Fine. Then how to calculate work output? Work output or energy output. Energy or output energy. Energy output or output energy, we can say. Output energy. So as effort is doing some work on the machine, in result, don't you think that machine also will do some work? What way? By applying some force vertical upwards on the load, so that load also is displaced vertical upwards. So here some force is acting on the load, at the same time there will be displacement of the load also. So force is acting upward only, this load also displays upward only. So here also some work is done. This work done only we can call it as a input work done, work input or input energy. Sorry, it's a output, it is not input. So already we discussed here, it's a input work, and it is whatever the work is done by the machine on this load is called actually work output. So this actually place will get a even output energy or output work done. So how to calculate that work output? So children, this can be calculated load into load displacement. So children, this what actually work input and work output. I repeat once again. What is a work input? Children, we are applying some force on the machine. Let us say on this piston, we are applying some force. So that piston is displaced. So some force is acting on the piston and piston is displaced. So some work is done. So what the work is done on the machine, that work done only we can call it as a work input. In result, what is happening, dear children? In result, machine is applying some force on this load and load also displaced. That only we can call it as a work output. It can be calculated as load into load displacement. Now discuss what is actually efficiency. Children, it's very important. What is actually efficiency? So efficiency will represent with the eta letter. So here efficiency is defined as work output by work input. Children, work output by work input. So in general, efficiency is expressed in terms of percentage. So it is efficiency percentage is equal to work output by work input into 100. So dear children, based on this only, now we are going to discuss the differences between what actual ideal machine, what actually practical machine. What are the differences actually? So why ideal machine is a very, what we can say, is a better over a actual machine. But is it possible to construct ideal machine or not? Let us discuss now. Now dear children, here whatever the machine which we are discussing, it's like a machine. So here it can be of two types. Two types in the sense, one is ideal machine. Next one is practical machine or actual machine. Or it also can also is a practical machine. Actually ideal machine is it's an ideal concept only. So it could be better if we have like machine like ideal. So like that it will be, but practically it is not possible. So actually in terms of actually efficiency, we can discuss what actually ideal machine, what actually practical machine. Dear children, in the case of ideal machine, work output is always equal to the work input, which means what? Even there will be no loss of energy. Even 1% of energy also loss won't be there. No loss of energy. That's what work output is always equal to work input. Whereas in the case of actual machine, dear children, work output is always less than that of the work input. Work output is always less than the work input. What is the reason? Why always work output is less than that of the work input? Dear children, so whenever some work is done by the machine on the load, what happens, some energy loss will be there. Why energy loss will be there? Dear children, so there will be a friction among the parts of the machine, first point. And the second point is that, the parts of the machine are, they'll be having heavy weight. They are really heavy weight actually. And whatever the strings which we are using is a inelastic and not a lightweight actually. And what are the pulleys which we are using? They are not frictionless. They are having friction. To overcome that friction, to overcome that heavy loads of the parts of the machine, some amount of energy must be spent. So as some energy is going to be spent to overcome such a, what we can say, friction and heavy weights, so obviously what output which we are getting will be less than that of the work input only always. Okay, fine. Now whatever its efficiency, dear children, we know that efficiency is equal to work output by work input. So in the case of ideal machine, work output is equal to work input. So efficiency is always equal to 1, or we can say it is 100%. It is 100%. Whereas here, dear children, efficiency is always less than 1, or we can say it is always less than 100%. Always less than 100%. And one more very important thing, dear children, in the case of ideal machine, mechanical advantage is always equal to the velocity ratio. Whereas in the case of actual machine, dear children, mechanical advantage is always less than that of the velocity ratio. So these are the differences between what actually ideal machine and what actually practical machine. Dear children, the machine such a ideal called ideal machine is not at all possible. Means it's not possible to construct. Means almost we can construct near to the ideal machine but not ideal machine. The reason is that ideal machine, what the parts of the machines are weightless. Is it possible? What are the thread which we are using, strings which we are using, they are massless, not possible. Whatever the pulleys which we are using, they are frictionless, so highly impossible. So it is just ideal concept only. So whenever we are trying to construct, whenever we are trying to make, whenever we are trying to plan a machine, we will try to construct near to this ideal machine. Okay children, fine. So these are the differences. Now we will see the relation between efficiency, mechanical advantage and velocity ratio. It's a very important. So how mechanical advantage, velocity ratio and efficiency are related. Very important. Children, let us recall the definition of efficiency. So what actual efficiency is? Efficiency is equal to work output by work input. Fine. But how to calculate work output? Already we have calculated, we have discussed. Work output is nothing but load into load displacement. What about work input, children? Effort into effort displacement. Effort into effort displacement. Just substitute these two values in this formula. Then we get it is load into load displacement by effort into effort displacement. So for the sake of our comfort, can we write like this? Load by effort into load displacement by effort displacement. Of course we can write. And can we make a little more changes? Load by effort into, can we write like this? Effort displacement by load displacement. Of course we can write, because denominator in a denominator will be numerator. Again same thing you will get. So nothing is different. But dear children, look at here. It is load by effort. It is effort displacement and load displacement. So load by effort only we can call it as a mechanical advantage. But what about effort displacement by load displacement? It is called velocity ratio. So here efficiency is equal to mechanical advantage by velocity ratio. So children, this is how mechanical advantage, velocity ratio and efficiency are related. Even this you can express in terms of percentage. Efficiency percentage is equal to mechanical advantage by velocity ratio into 100. So dear children, this is a formula which we use to calculate the efficiency of a given machine. So dear children, this is how actually we can make a relation between mechanical advantage, velocity ratio and efficiency. So dear children, this is actually today's session. So let us recall once again what we have discussed. Children, today whatever we discussed, just basic terms only. So first we discussed the functions of machine. Children, there are 4 functions of machine. Machine acts like a force multiplier. Machine acts like a speed multiplier. Machine is used to change the direction of effort applied, and it is used to change the point of application of effort into the convenient way. It's a convenient point. So these are the 4 functions. Then we discuss effort. The force applied on the machine to overcome the resistive force is called effort. Then what is the load, dear children? The resistive force which is overcome by the machine is called load. And the ratio between load and effort only we can call it as a mechanical advantage. And what about velocity ratio? Velocity ratio is defined as the ratio of effort displacement to the load displacement or effort velocity to the load velocity. And after that we discuss about what actually efficiency and how efficiency is related to the mechanical advantage and velocity ratio. Okay children, thank you so much. All the very best.